In today's episode, we're tackling something that's getting a lot of attention in the personal finance world, and that is Trump accounts. So, in today's episode, you're going to learn who qualifies for them, how the account actually works, how they compare to 529 plans, and what parents should actually do to open them or not open them. Stay tuned.
Sugar Daddy Podcast, yo. Learn how to make them pockets grow. Financial freedom's where we go. Smart investments, money flow.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Sugar Daddy Podcast, where we help you build a clear financial plan so you can feel confident and in control of your money. Welcome back to our OGs. If you've been here a while, thank you for tuning in every Wednesday. And if you're new here, we hope you'll stick around because we have a good time every Wednesday, wherever you are listening to your podcasts.
Hey, babe, what are we talking about today?
Ugh, I don't even want to say the word, but today we are talking about Trump accounts.
Yeah, if you guys are new, we don't keep it a hidden secret. We are not Trump supporters, never have been, never will be, and to be honest, don't prefer not to be even associated with those who still support this man. However, we are going to talk about Trump accounts because it is something that he is currently proposing, and we want you guys to at least have the details to understand from a financial standpoint what these are and how they could be potentially beneficial.
Yes, because even though it has his name in the title, because he's a raging narcissist, there could be financial benefits. So we do want you to have the information. And then, I like to say, do with that information what you will. So we're here to educate and to answer some of the questions, maybe dispel some of the things kind of going around about them and educate you. So that's what today's episode is for, regardless of what line you're on.
And I also do want to kind of start the episode with this is not the first time that something of this nature has been proposed.
Okay. Sounds new. Sounds new to the people.
It is not new. So we'll go ahead and get into it. So
Okay.
we'll talk about that as we get into it.
Okay. Where do you want to start?
Basically, first and foremost, like, what is the Trump account? And to kind of simplify it as best as possible, it is basically a government investment account for a child. So basically what they're looking to propose to do is invest initial $1,000 from the government. When I say from the government, I don't even like that term because the government
It's
isn't
our
having
tax
money. It's
dollars,
our money.
right? Yes.
But
The government is mismanaging our money at all
yes,
times.
but it's going to
Under all administrations, let's be clear.
air quotes, the government is going to deposit $1,000 into an investment account for a U.S. born child, a citizen. Now, the reason I was saying that this is not the first time that this ever been proposed, because there has been proposals for this in the past, and even, as recent with Cory Booker trying to do baby bonds, something similar to this as well. So I don't want the people to think that, like, hey, I have a negative take on this because I think there could be some benefits, but this isn't some nuanced new thing that Trump came up with. Like, let's be honest about this.
Does he have new ideas?
This has been proposed numerous times, just unfortunately has not actually been put into law and passed, unfortunately.
Okay. All right. So what is the Trump account?
I'll say it again. The Trump account is an investment account that is being opened by the government for a newborn child, and they're going to automatically deposit $1,000 into the account.
Okay. But is it like an IRA?
No, it is not. Well,
okay.
it has.
So that's what I'm asking.
Okay. All right. So it has some similar features of different accounts. All right.
Okay.
So the money's going to be deposited into the account. And the problem is here is that we actually don't even have all the details yet.
Because it's not even available.
Correct. You cannot currently enroll in it, and all the details have not been finalized. But as far as proposals that have been put out there is that the money would be growing tax deferred. That's the idea behind it, hopefully, because if not, then it's missing some benefits there. But the idea here is that the child will invest. The parents can also invest up to $5,000 into the account.
Is that $5,000 a year or like total ever in its lifetime?
$5,000 a year is what they're proposing now that you could potentially put into the account.
Okay.
But the account has a restriction that you wouldn't be able to access it until you're 18 years old. And the idea behind that is that it does have some flexibility in regards to what it could potentially be used for. Main thing that most people think about is educational expenses, but it also could be potentially used for like a first time home purchase. And they've even had some proposals out there where it could possibly be used for starting a business. But the main one that people are kind of thinking of is the education aspect.
Okay, so but we already have accounts for education.
I 100% agree with you because
For those of you driving or walking and not seeing my face is one of confusion right now. I'm like, "Wait, it's called a 529. What's happening?"
so like I'm going to infer some of like my thought process of maybe what I think they're thinking behind it,
Okay.
but the idea behind it is that so many people are so far behind when it comes to financial literacy and getting a head start on the investment aspect. So the idea is to kind of start an investment account so that people start to get money into the market so they can benefit from compound interest. So that's one of the premises behind it as far as why I think they're trying to put it in place. Now, what I actually think really is that it's kind of putting a band-aid on a bigger problem
Mhm.
that actually is the, wealth gap disparity
Ding,
where
ding, ding.
it's kind of one of those things where there's a wealth gap, and we have episodes on that, but there's a whole issue behind that. But the idea is that they're trying to give breadcrumbs instead of actually the loaf of bread to the people,
Mm,
because there's a lot of issues in regards to why there's a wealth gap, which is one, income in general in regards to how people are paid, how salaries are not keeping up with the increased cost of goods. So
right.
that's a bigger issue. But what we're talking about is that the idea behind this is to get people starting to invest early. And hopefully, the way that we would look at it is that you start to have these conversations also with your child at a young age, as far as looking at these accounts as they get older and having that financial literacy conversation that we really need to have so that they understand this at an early age.
Well, so I'm seeing a couple of things because I feel like we already know that most people don't invest. We
Yes.
know that the majority of people don't have financial literacy. We know that or aren't financially educated. We know that people are underpaid. We know people are living paycheck to paycheck. We know that the cost of living, the cost of goods, inflation is not keeping up with the cost of wages. So there's all these problems happening. And now we have this account that is already an existing investment account, right? Because
Well,
you can go and open investment
yes,
accounts for your children. Hold
I
on, let
was.
me
I'm sorry.
finish. And then on top of that, we now have Trump's name on it, which is also going to alienate people from wanting to open this account because people are going to be like, no, I don't want to deal with him. I don't trust anything he does, right? Whatever your ideas are of him. So you've got this huge group of people that's already struggling, already lacking the education needed to understand what investing is, how compound interest works, et cetera, et cetera. And now you slap the man's name on it. So like aside from the fact that it's only for a very limited amount of people, right? So babies born between January 1st, 2025 and December 31st, 2028. So that our kids aren't eligible.
Yeah, that's as of now. Like I said, there are like
I
the
feel like
final.
there's just so much
Yeah,
wrong.
the final. Well,
Like
the
I don't
thing is,
like it.
so here's the thing: is like in all honesty, we're doing this because if it does come to fruition, we want you to have the information. But the reality is that this could possibly not come to fruition, just like all the other proposals beforehand, and then also all the empty promises that Trump is his entire presidential history has been full of.
I mean, it's our money, right? So it's our thousands of dollars in tax dollars. So if somebody between this 3-year age range right now takes the money for when it's available and puts $1,000 in, what would happen if this doesn't come to fruition, but people have I mean, I guess it's like free government money that could also just go away at any point.
So I'm gonna make sure I understand your question.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is that currently you cannot open this account. It does
Right.
not exist. All right.
I'm talking about for when it is available.
When it is available, hopefully, well, when it is available, first and foremost, I would say it's a free $1,000, quote unquote, free $1,000. So I would encourage every parent who has an eligible child to go ahead and open up the account and take the $1,000.
So if you have a child between January 1st, 2025 and December 31st, 2028, as of right
As of right
now,
now, I would, once the account is available, and you would have to probably proactively open up the account. So
okay,
keeping,
which maybe there's going to be instructions coming
yes.
on this.
But I would open up the account, and the account is going to be restricted to low cost stock market index funds, which I think is also beneficial. So it
Okay.
limits the complexity of like, diving into individual stocks or cryptocurrencies or anything of that nature. That's not going to be an option as of right now with that account.
Oh, you can't buy his crypto?
We shall see. But the idea
I'm,
behind it is
like,
that
raging on the inside already, and we're, like, 4 minutes into the episode.
the idea behind it is that it is the investment account that is the basic, you know, investing strategies that I think most people should utilize. So it keeps it
Okay,
simple and gives you a free $1,000.
okay.
That is honestly the most beneficial part of it right now. Now, based upon the other accounts that you have available to you that you can simply open up on your own, and
Mhm.
also the track record of this current administration, I would never put any additional money into this account personally,
Mhm,
because
mhm.
the benefits that come with this account are available to you in other
Other
accounts
accounts
that
that we
not are
know.
associated with the government
Right.
and also this administration.
Mm,
So, we're going to get into some more details, but at first, I would just open the account, take the $1,000, and you have to leave it in the account. You can't, take it out, but invest it accordingly in that account and just have that
and
thousand
hope
dollars
for the
there.
best.
And anything else that you otherwise would have contributed to that account, open up another account and contribute there. Because the first thing I always tell people is what is the purpose of the account that you're opening for your child?
Mhm.
Because you have to determine that first. Because, for example, if you're someone that is not all about your child going to college, you don't really necessarily think that's the path that they should go or are going to go, whatever it may be, whatever your reasoning is, then you probably don't want to open a 529 plan, because
Yeah,
that doesn't make sense.
right.
You might want to look at, maybe an UTMA account, a uniform transfer to minor account as an investment account for a child instead. But you always got to start out with the purpose. So, for
Mhm.
example, with us, we have multiple accounts for our children, and it's because we have multiple purposes. So, we have a 529 plan that can be used for educational expenses for our child, and there's benefits to that. But then we also do have the UTMA as well because there's benefits to that as well. So, like I
Right.
said, you really need to understand what the accounts, the pros and cons of each account, and then based upon your situation, what goal you're trying to achieve determines on what, avenue or both, a little bit of both that you take.
Right. Okay. I think that's sound advice. I mean, my take as a non-licensed professional is I don't want to give the government any more money because I'm already ticked off every single time I see all the money they take out of all of my paychecks.
I 100% agree
So,
because
no. No,
because
thank you.
because it also too, all right, so if you're going to look at the Trump account as an educational account,
Mhm.
one, if you want to put more money into an educational account, you have limits with Trump account. Whereas the 529 plan has higher contribution limits.
Right.
Now, also, too, is that with a 529 plan, let's say, for example, you want to send your child to a private school, K through 12. You can use a 529 plan to pay for educational expenses for K through 12 private schools.
Oh,
You don't have that option in the Trump account as written now because you're not able to access it until 18 years old.
right. And then they'll
So
be
it's not
done.
even so like
Mhm.
honestly, just like everything else that Trump kind of does, he does a crappier version of it. And once again, he creates another account that he's trying to do something, but there's already an account that exists that's better. Once again, he's a mediocre white man doing mediocre things.
Mediocre feels
That is very
generous.
true.
Yeah.
He's wealthy, so that kind of like levels it up because he has money. That's about
Stolen money.
that's about it.
Stolen money. Okay. So let's talk about what $1,000 looks like once compound interest does what compound interest does.
Well, I mean, if you were to put $1,000 in, like I said, I wouldn't contribute anything else. But if you were looking at, roughly a 7% annual rate of return, you
Which
could
is
be,
conservative,
yeah,
right? Yeah.
you could be looking at almost $3,500 if you started the account when the child was born to when they're 18 years old. And that's just compound interest. That's not contributing anything else additionally.
I mean, you're not going to do much
No.
with $3,500, especially 18 years into the future.
Especially if you're going to use it for college.
Right. So you can.
The idea behind it, like I said, I really think that like when they roll out these types of, quote unquote financial literacy or attempts to help people financially, it's like they need to also provide the more important part,
The
the education,
education.
where it's like, okay, you have $1,000 account, let's contribute something additionally each month.
And show them what that will do and how
Yes. Even
compounding
if it's
works.
just like
And
we've talked about this before, even if
Mhm.
it's just $25 a month, $50 a month, $10 a month, the contributions on a continual basis each month, along with compound interest, can make a huge difference in, 18, 20 years.
Right.
But like I said, I would never contribute anything additional to this account, as we said, because
There's other
Right now, they take
vehicles to
Social
do that.
Security out of our check every pay.
Don't get me started. We'll
And more
never
than
see
likely,
that
we're
money.
not going to see that.
Nope. You're
But
welcome. You're
you
welcome,
really need to
boomers.
focus on the idea, like I said, like the idea of taking the free money, investing it, but then opening up a different type of account that actually makes more sense for you, and you have
And you
100%
have
control.
control. Yes.
Also, too, you're probably going to have a lot more options as far as what you can invest in these other accounts.
Right. Which again, there's a portion of financial education that has to go with that to know what the other accounts are, what compounding is, how do you actually invest so that you're not just putting money into an account and it's sitting there in cash. You're actually buying, your assets with it. I mean, there's so much
Yeah. And
that
like I said, the only benefit of this account, in my viewpoint,
mhm.
and I will admit, I am 100% biased because I cannot stand this man and I don't trust him.
Mhm.
However, if you just look at the details of the account and I take my bias out of it, the only benefit of the account is the free money because
It is the best
anything
part.
else you can do in other accounts. There's
Right.
nothing that this account does that you cannot do somewhere else.
Right.
And I want to really make sure people understand that this account is not something special. The only benefit is the free money.
Mhm. Free, our tax dollar
Yes.
money. Yeah. So, I mean, like Brandon said, if you have a kid that qualifies from those dates, take the $1,000 and then open the account and let it sit there. And
Here's
don't forget about it,
here's one
obviously.
thing I want to point out where some people may view it as a benefit. I don't necessarily view it as a benefit. Is that this account is available to anyone.
Mhm.
Anyone that has a child that's eligible. So what that means is that someone that is a multimillionaire or a multi-billionaire
Could take
still
the
has
money.
access to this account,
Yeah.
which I think is nonsense. Because I understand about being equal, but let's be honest, that doesn't make sense. If your parents are already billionaires, you don't need to
Take
$1,000.
$1,000 from other
Yeah,
tax-paying
because
citizens.
the other proposals that have happened, more specifically Cory Booker's, I want to believe it was called like baby bonds. It was kind of tiered based on your income. So, for example, those households that had lower income would have received more money than those houses that have higher incomes.
Right.
Which I think if you are a good person and you have a higher income than say somebody else, then you understand that.
Yeah. Well, that's just but, here's the thing about that. We are also the people that are like, yes, I would love my tax dollars to go to feeding every kid in public school. Yes, I want my tax dollars to fix the broken roads and to pay teachers more and. No, I don't want my tax dollars going to funding unnecessary wars that I mean, let me woosah. We're gonna really try to stay on track here. We are the people who want our tax dollars used for good, for the betterment of our communities, for the betterment of our children, for the betterment of people who don't have the things that we have, not to fund billionaires and corporations. Point blank, period, hard stop. That is our stance. So, yes, please use my tax dollars to feed all the children in public schools. Please do that.
Yeah, because once again, I think it's one of those things where like we're trying to give you the information, but this is also it's our podcast. So we're going to give you our our personal take.
It belongs to
And
us.
if you don't like, don't listen.
Trademarked.
I'm saying if you don't like it, don't listen. But the bigger problem is, let's just say, looking at it from an educational standpoint to help pay for higher education. This is not the way to do it. There's a much better way to do it, and there's plenty of countries in across the world that have figured out how to provide free college to their citizens. So
Mhm.
there's things
There
that we
are
could do better.
ways.
There
There
are
are
things that
we could be learning from other countries.
yeah. So or
Somehow
there
we're still
or
doing that.
as I said, like I think this is just I'm going to give you crumbs and hope you shut up while I'm doing all this terrible stuff over here,
Mhm.
and that's the reality of it.
And I'm gonna put my name on it
Now, like I said,
when you can, again, open an account that doesn't
yeah,
have
it is
his
our
name
tax
on it.
dollars, so take that free $1,000. But like I said, if you're actually looking to fund an investment account for primarily education expenses,
Don't do this one.
do the 529 plan. It's much more beneficial, has a lot more benefits, and it's yours.
And we
If
have an entire episode about it
Yeah, and if you're looking
with
for something
information.
that's a little bit more flexible in regards to what you could use the money for, you can use a variety of different type of custodial brokerage accounts. Like we already mentioned the UTMA. If
Mhm.
your child is of a certain age and they have earned income, like they have a part-time job, then you can also open up a custodial Roth IRA for them, which is extremely beneficial. But like I said, the only drawback is that your child does have to be working in some form or fashion and bringing in money.
Working legally.
Yeah, and they don't have to. And the thing is, they don't have to necessarily contribute their own money. You
Right.
could the child
You
makes
could count it.
$5,000 for the year, you could put the $5,000
Mhm.
in, you know? But the idea, like I said, is take the free money, then look elsewhere.
Yeah. Don't forget that you opened it, right? Don't forget that you opened the account, but do not use this as your primary investing vehicle.
No, I wouldn't advise that. And
Yeah.
also just like, like we still don't have all the details. So it could change, it could not exist.
Mhm.
Who knows? But it is something that has been talked about, extensively enough that we thought it made sense to go ahead and do an episode just to provide you with the information and also let you know, hey, keep your eyes open for any information that comes through that, hey, this is actually enacted, because if you're eligible for it, then you definitely want to take advantage of it.
Right. So it's not available yet as of this recording date, which is the middle of March, 2026. Um, but we'll keep you posted. You can also, subscribe to our social media, so we'll make updates there as we learn more. But there are better ways to invest, but take the free money if you qualify. So just again, as a recap. Your child has to be born between January 1st, 2025 and December 31st, 2028. That is as of right now. They must be a US citizen. They must have a social security number. And they have to be born after the program begins within those dates. So take that for what it is. The best thing that you can do for your child is start investing for them early, because time in the market is really the most valuable gift, along with the financial education. So, you know that we talk about this all the time, but talk to your kids about money, talk to them about finance, talk to them about investing, compounding. Don't make it intimidating. It doesn't need to be a sit down family meeting, but open the conversation for them to feel comfortable asking about money and starting to learn about and understand that things have value and that things have a cost and that not everything is priced equally.
Also, here's one more thing that, the wording I think is the way that it is on purpose is that your child must be born in the United States, not just a US citizen.
Oh,
So if you were living abroad and you're still a US citizen, like you and your spouse are US citizens, but you have a child abroad who technically would still be a US citizen,
like me.
yes, you might not be eligible for the account, which is completely in line with their BS when it comes to immigration.
Mm. Well,
Like I
you,
said,
you you heard it here first. Take the free money. Don't contribute anything else. We would advise against it.
yeah, we're going to provide you with guys with good advice, but you're also going to get our strong opinion. So
Yeah, we have a lot of those. Um, Yeah, I mean, this is all we have. They haven't released more information. So take it for what it's worth. You now have the information. Keep an eye on, things as things develop if you have a child that qualifies. Personally, we do not. So, we're just keeping an eye on things because this is what we do for the podcast, but hopefully take it with a grain of salt. We will talk to you next Wednesday when we're not boiling anymore. Thanks for
that's
listening. We'll talk
impossible.
to you soon. I know. It's really impossible these days. All right. Bye, friends.
Sugar Daddy Podcast, yo. Learn how to make them pockets grow.